All right. You know we going far out. We going outside of the realms of the seven traditional planets. And before we can really take flight, I had to pull out my book of shadows and share some information with us ladies because I noticed that a lot of us are not provided this information when we go through our transitional phase into womanhood. This video I'm dedicating to my daughters who will, in some point in this space-time reality, go through their transitional phase into womanhood. I would like to speak about menstrual cycles today. And going forward in this conversation, whenever you hear me say moon time cycle, I want you to know that I am speaking about the concept of the menstruation cycle that women and women only go through, okay? I would love to bring to your awareness, ladies, and this is for all of my daughters. My physical daughters, I have two that I physically gave birth to. And so any of the daughters, nieces, grandchildren, granddaughters, who are coming up behind me. This is some information that a lot of our mothers didn't know and they weren't able to tell us. This is something that I have been working out now because I know that I have two daughters and I want them to be able to honor and to gain strength and wisdom from their menstrual cycles. And I see a butterfly over here, so I know I'm supposed to talk about this. I'm coming at you from a metaphysical woman studies point of view. So I'm not going to be getting deep into the anatomy and physiology and linear, masculine, logical point of view. What I'm getting ready to tell you is going to sound mystical in nature, and I want you to know that it's still valid anyway. Now, the reason why I refer to the menstruation cycle as the moon cycle is because our menstruation cycle mimics the moon, being it is 28 days. Our cycles are 28 days as connected with the moon. Now, for my younger daughters, for my younger nieces, for my younger granddaughters, for my younger sisters who are getting started on your menstrual cycle, I want you to know that you may not have a succinct and concise cycle when you're first starting off. It may be irregular when you first going through that transitional phase, and when you first get your menstruation or moon cycle. And so I'm going to tell you, I'm probably going to be the first one to tell you to start documenting the date. Keep notes of the date so that you can start gaining mastery over understanding your cyclical nature, okay? And there's 4 phases in a woman's moon cycle, okay? The 4 phases are as follows. I'm looking in my book of shadows, so if I look down, it's because I'm reading from my book of shadows. We have the actual menstruation phase. I put here a note as bleed time. And during that bleed time, that's when you actually see blood. So if you go to the restroom and you see blood, you are on the first phase of this cycle and you are on your bleed time phase. And this means it is the time to rest, to reflect, and to restore. If at all possible, do as little with the outside world as possible. This is the time for you to go inward, to relax to the utmost. Bed rest, do whatever makes you feel good. And if possible, do it by yourself. The second phase, and this lasts for 7 days. So these 4 cycles, each of these cycles lasts for 7 days. So when you have your calendar and you mark out when your menstruation starts, that means the very first day you start to bleed, you count 7 days past that, and this is your menstruation time. Now, once we get to phase 2, this is called your follicular phase. It's right after your bleed time. So on day 8, so you bled, count 8 days after the first day that you bleed, and you now enter into your follicular phase. And this time is a marvelous time because you're going to receive a boost in energy, you're going to receive a boost in your mood, and you're also going to gain some clarity. And so this is a wonderful time to start setting some goals on what you would like to manifest in the upcoming weeks, in the upcoming months, in the upcoming year. This is a wonderful time for goal setting and for getting some clarity on the situations that's transpiring amongst you right now. This cycle also lasts for 7 days. So when you're marking out your calendar, you're going to count out 7 days for your follicular phase. The next phase will be your ovulatory phase. You're going to be feeling hornier than a motherfucker at this phase. Okay, I didn't. You're going to want to, okay, you're feeling good, you're looking good, you're clear on your thoughts, you're out and about, you're networking, you're flirting, you're probably attracting to you potential mates, potential consorts, potential providers, potential protectors. Okay, the masculine energy is feeling you right now. You feeling yourself, the men is feeling you too. This is the ovulatory phase. And so, what you need to keep in mind right here is although it's a good time for networking, it's also a wonderful time for getting pregnant. So, at this particular phase, so you want to count it out. So now we about 15 days in, okay? We done went through our bleed time. We done went through our follicular phase. Once we get to the ovulatory phase, that means it is very probable and possible for us to get pregnant at this phase. And so if baby making ain't what you wanting to do at this moment in time, it's a marvelous time to either keep your legs shut and transmute that sexual energy or to use some protection, meaning, condoms, or practice abstinence during this phase, because this is a phase where you beautiful, men are beautiful to you, everybody's attracted and drawn into you. Okay, your sexual energy is at its peak, which means the possibility of making babies is in the midst. Okay. This is the ovulatory phase. Okay, this is the third phase within a woman's moon time cycle. Okay, we're feeling very sexy, and men are seeing us, and we looking sexy to them too. Okay, very sexy during this ovulatory phase. I want you to think sexy and babies during this ovulatory phase. Okay. Your sexiness can inspire the need to produce babies during this ovulatory phase. You understand what I'm saying to you? Okay, now once we get to the fourth phase, this is the luteal. I hope I'm pronouncing this correctly, but I'm going to spell it. L as in Lima, U as in uniform, T as in tango, E as in echo, A as in alpha, L as in Lima, and luteal phase. This means you're getting ready to go through your menstruation once again. This means this is now, once again, time for you to begin relaxing. You want to start winding down your activities. You want to start eating. If you've been eating like crap during the other 3 phases of your cycle, this is the time to get it right, because this is going to determine what your menstrual cycle is going to be like for the upcoming week, okay? This is the last phase. This is like the preparatory phase. What you do during this luteal phase is going to set the parameters for what your menstrual cycle is going to look like going forward as you get ready to get back to your bleed time, okay? So this is the time where you don't want to engage in foolishness, okay? This is the time where you want to engage in cultivating your mind, cultivating your spirit, cultivating your growth, cultivating your evolution, cultivating your character, cultivating your emotional stability, your emotional wellness, your well-being. Okay, you want to get yourself at a point where you're feeling wonderful and where you're feeling marvelous and where you're feeling relaxed and you're feeling receptive and you're feeling good. Okay. This is your luteal phase. The luteal phase is going to be the phase immediately. It's the week immediately following the beginning, the commemoration of your next menstrual cycle. And this is information that you're not going to hear in school. This is why I'm coming out here and I'm doing this video. I want you to start understanding that you can start working with your menstrual cycle intentionally. And I want my young ladies to start working with your menstrual cycle intentionally at the very beginning, from day one, from your very first menstrual cycle. You see, ladies like me, we had to learn this information through life as we were living life. So a lot of us, sometimes, unfortunately, we don't get this information until we start entering into what they call menopause, which is the ceasing. That means we're no longer bleeding anymore. But luckily for me and luckily for you, I'm very youthful and I have many, 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 many more years to go. All right. And I figured this information out at a relatively young age, and I'm sharing it with you because this information is what I wish I would have known back when I was your age. Your menstrual cycle is actually a great blessing. It's a time of great power. It's a time of great intuition. It's a time of great insight. It's a time of great clarity. It's a time where you can penetrate beneath, beyond, below, above, behind the veils and see whatever it is that you need to see. And this is why a lot of times society feared women when we were at this point, because we are at our most powerful. And sometimes when women are in power, sometimes, unfortunately, some people may feel uncomfortable with that. I'm making this video because I want you to feel very comfortable with your power. I want you to step into your power. I would love for you to own your power. I would love for you to be able to work with and to use your power beneficially, to not only help you, but to also help your community. That's why I'm sharing this video, because I'm helping my community. I'm aiding the collective by sharing with you some information that you is not going to learn in no sex education class in high school. I guarantee you, I put money on it. I put $10 on it. So anybody who's ever who's won a bet with me, I guarantee you, when you get your sex educational class in school, it is not going to teach you about the different phases of a woman's menstrual cycle and how you can tap into it and use it advantageously. Because if you set yourself up right during the luteal, which is that last phase that you get to before you start your new phase of menstruation and bleed time, if you set yourself up right, your menstruation cycle will go so much more smoothly for you. That means there'll be less PMS, there'll be less cramps, there'll be less pain, your bleed time will be smoother and it'll be over quicker. You won't even bleed as long as, okay. Your bleed time won't even be as long. You'll shorten the duration of the time that you are bleeding and losing blood. You'll decrease the amount of symptoms that you feel approaching and while on your menstruation cycle. You'll have more control over your emotions and over your mood and over your feelings. And this is something that is important for us ladies to master. The younger the better, because this could save relationships. This could save, you just don't, what? This can help you to better monitor and better exert partnership with the beast that lies within. I'll have to come back and probably do some visuals so that you can remember. Each phase is 7 days long. There are a total of 4 phases within a woman's menstrual cycle. See, us older generation, we knew how to get out the notebook and take notes. And I think this is something that you young ladies, you need to remember. So I'm going to ask you to break out your notebooks and to take notes. First phase, menstruation phase, that's the bleed time. It lasts 7 days long. Day 1 is the first day you go to the restroom and you see blood, you're on menstruation phase. That's day 1. Count out 7 days from there, and now you're on your follicular phase. That's the time where you're gaining clarity, insight, energy boost, mood boost, okay? Count out 7 days from there. Now you're on your ovulatory phase. This is the time where you're feeling sexy. Men are looking at you. They seeing you as sexy. And there's babies. The possibility of making babies is in the mist. But instead of making babies, you can give birth to new ideas, to new purposes, to new goals, to new dreams. Okay? You can transmute that energy and give birth to what will benefit and be advantageous to you. The next and the last phase, which is another 7 days later, is your luteal phase. And this is the time where you're going to start setting yourself up for success for your next menstruation cycle. This means you want to relax. You want to be at ease. You want to be at peace. You want to eat well, do yoga, or any other form of exercise that you find enjoyable, that's soothing. We don't want to exert too much energy now. Because just like with the menstrual cycle phases, our energy waxes and wanes depending on which menstrual cycle we are on, which menstrual phase we are on. This is some real ass game right here. I hope my young ladies is finding this video, because I wish I would have known this when I was a little bit younger. Who knows what type of woman I would be now if I would have known this when I was a little bit younger. I'm saying this because I love you. And I'm saying this because I desire to save you from some of the lack of knowing that I had back in my day. And I hope you feel that. And I hope you are able to learn from my experience and thus save yourself many, many years and much time. Signing in, out, above, beyond, below, beneath, underground, all around, uptown, downtown, midtown. Here, there, anywhere, everywhere, nowhere. Past, present, future. Learn this, and we can start going further out. I needed to make sure that I documented this so we can start going above and beyond past the phases of the moon, Lady Luna, out.